There's a phase in a financial rebuild that hardly anyone talks about. We talk a lot about struggle, about pressure, about the anxiety of not having enough. But there's another phase that comes later, and in some ways, it's just as unsettling. It's the moment when the chaos fades, when the bills are covered, when nothing urgent is demanding your attention. And yet, instead of relief, there's this quiet restlessness sitting underneath everything. This episode is about that phase, the one where the numbers improve, but your inner world hasn't caught up yet. For a long time, my financial life felt like one long emergency. There was always something to fix, something overdue, something that couldn't wait. That environment trains you. You wake up alert. You stay mentally braced. You operate as if calm is dangerous, because calm usually means you've missed something. So when stability finally starts to show up, your body doesn't immediately relax. It stays on guard. I didn't realize this at the time, but adrenaline had quietly become part of how I functioned. Urgency felt like productivity. Stress felt like responsibility. Pressure felt like purpose. When things were tight, there was always a reason to stay switched on. And that constant alertness gave me something familiar to hold on to. It made me feel useful, necessary, in control. So when that pressure began to ease, something unexpected happened. I didn't feel free. I felt disoriented. This was uncomfortable to admit. As financial calm started settling in, there were moments where it felt like something had been taken away. Not excitement, not spending, but intensity. Without realizing it, I had built part of my identity around managing crisis, around holding things together, around being the one who was always fixing something. So when there were fewer problems to solve, my mind went looking for them. This is where things got subtle. Even when the numbers were fine, my thoughts weren't. I'd recheck things that didn't need checking, revisit decisions that were already settled, mentally scan for risks that weren't actually present. It wasn't fear, it was habit. My mind had been trained to believe that if it wasn't actively solving something, it wasn't doing its job. So calm felt suspicious. This isn't weakness, it's conditioning. If you've lived long enough in survival mode, your brain learns that peace is temporary. So it scans, it searches, it asks, what am I missing? What's going to go wrong next? What haven't I fought through yet? And if you don't recognize this phase for what it is, you might think you're becoming careless or losing discipline. You're not. You're transitioning. Here's the truth I had to face. Stability requires a different skill set than survival. Survival is loud. It gives you clear signals, clear enemies, clear priorities. Stability is quiet. It removes urgency. It takes away the constant alarms you used to rely on. And without those alarms, you can feel strangely unsure of yourself, like you don't quite know how to be here yet. This is where the real work began for me. Not in spreadsheets, not in planning, but internally, learning to sit in a stable moment without immediately trying to improve it, learning to let calm exist without turning it into a problem to solve. At first, slowing down felt irresponsible, like I was letting my guard down. But over time, I realized something important. Not every quiet moment is a warning. This is where my faith shifted in a subtle but important way. When you're in need, faith often looks like asking, like hoping, like holding on. But when provision arrives, faith looks more like trust. Trust that you don't need to rush. Trust that rest isn't laziness. Trust that not every calm moment needs action. I had to learn that receiving stability is also a form of stewardship. Sometimes faith isn't about doing more. It's about allowing yourself to breathe. This was the hardest adjustment, letting go of the idea that constant management equals responsibility. That if I wasn't actively fixing something, I was somehow being careless. But control and responsibility aren't the same thing. You can be responsible without being reactive. You can be disciplined without being tense. And you can care deeply without living on adrenaline. I had to redefine usefulness, not as constant vigilance, not as endless optimization, but as presence, consistency, grounded decision-making. A grounded person doesn't invent problems to feel relevant. They respond well when real ones arrive. If you've noticed that money stress has eased, things feel more stable than before, but your mind still feels restless, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not losing discipline. You're not becoming complacent. You're not wasting progress. You're adjusting to a new reality. And adjustment takes time. You don't need to recreate urgency to feel responsible again. You just need to learn a new rhythm. Financial peace isn't loud. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand constant action. It doesn't prove itself every day. Sometimes the real growth happens when you learn how to live without the adrenaline. I'm JP, and I'll see you in the next one.